recruiter here to review your resumes and tell you why your resume is the reason that you can't get a job, tell you how to fix that resume so that you can get a job and get ahead of your job search, because we are in a recession and getting a job now is harder than it has been in the last 15 years. So this is a software engineer. This person has specifically told me that they have been applying constantly for an early career role for almost a year, but they can't seem to get a reply from anyone. I feel like my resume doesn't pass the ATS. That is not how the ATS works. That is the biggest lie that everybody tells you is how the ATS works. Everybody tells you that it does some like keyword matching stuff. No, it's not. It's basic and boring. An ATS, all it ever does is sort by first come, first serve. That's it. That's what an ATS does. So it's not that you can't get past the ATS, it's that you can't get past the recruiter or hiring manager because your resume is garbage. And I'm about to tell them why this resume is garbage. Because I want to make sure they can get a job. So what do we need for a software engineer? Well, this person immediately failed, because if you are becoming or going or are a software engineer, what you need to do is pick a stack or you get rejected. Now, I know you're about to say, but Lee, there are stack agnostic roles. Yeah, you're not going to find a stack. Let me be clear. The overall number of stack agnostic roles in the market today is enough that you probably will not find them. And then if you do apply, they will probably lose budget. So pick a stack or you get rejected. That is what you need to do. This person did not pick a stack. So this is one of the big reasons they're getting rejected, because generalized resumes do not work. So there are 6 stacks. Are there more than 6 stacks? Yes. Will you find those on job boards? Probably not in enough number to actually get a job. You can be a full stack engineer. You can be an AI engineer. You can be a Python backend, Java backend, C#.NET backend, or front end. Those are the 6 that you need to pick. If you do not pick one of those, you are going to get rejected. And this person does get rejected. Not only did they say they've been applying constantly and nearly can't get a reply, their ratio is garbage. What a ratio is how many applications it takes you to get an interview. Your goal should be 50 applications at a minimum, leading to one interview. This person's ratio is over 150, so it's taking them over 150 applications to get an interview. So, since each of these stacks has different qualifications, I cannot search for all of them. So I am going to pick one, and that is going to be full stack, because full stack is the most common stack in the market, at least in the US. So we are going to judge this as if this was a full stack software engineer. But Lee, what if this is not a full stack software engineer? What if this is a Python developer? What if this is a Java developer? What is this, an AI engineer? Well, cool, they did not tell me, and thus they are going to get this. That is why you need to be specific, because these each have different applications that we are looking for. So what do we need for a full stack software engineer? We need degree, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, RESTful API or REST APIs, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Yes, it's boring. Yes, it's basic. You need it on your resume or you get rejected. That is... Everybody tries to put all these crazy things in their resume. The boring basic stuff like TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS is what gets you a job. I have gotten more software engineers, senior software engineers, not just freshers, jobs that are in full stack by putting TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS in their first sentence. That is what is getting them jobs. That is, you need to do it, all right? I need you to think beyond as an engineer and think about describing this to your grandmother, because that is what the hiring manager wants, not the recruiter, the hiring manager. So, RESTful APIs or REST APIs, SQL, any of them, but you do have to, any of them is fine. Even NoSQL, weirdly enough. So cloud, you do have to tell me what cloud, but any of those 3 is good. Backend, so we need a little bit of backend. React Native, Git, GitHub, CI/CD, Agile, DevOps, and extra credit for all that good stuff. So, can I find this in 20 seconds, which is all the time that recruiters have? No, because this person gets no interviews. So, let's see. what I can find. And yes, recruiters only have this amount of time to look at a resume. If we spend more than this on resumes, we will get fired for not doing our job right. So 20 seconds is on the clock and go. Built the modernization of pipelines using Stripe, hot dog, MongoDB, hot dog, kind of an OKY. Implemented PyTest for billing infrastructure, hot dog. This doesn't matter. Stop trying to impress me on this doesn't matter, this doesn't matter, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter, this matters. All right, time. So this is, oh boy, I understand why this resume gets no hits. This is a very, 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 very bad resume. Now, let's, again, tell you how to fix it, because a channel where I just say your resume stinks without giving you advice on how to fix it would be. So, first things first, your formatting is off. This is the formatting that you want to use right here. This is how you do it. You can do so on the link below. This is peak formatting. I know you may not believe me, but this is it. If you want to have the best format for your resume, it's this. For a software engineer, it's this. For an accountant, it's this. For a recruiter, it's this. For a sales associate, it's this. For a high-level director, actually not this. High-level directors want a different. But unless you're a job hopper or a high-level director, you want this. But there's so much white space. They're so boring. Yeah, that's the point. You know how tired a recruiter's eyes get and hiring managers' eyes get after reviewing around 60 resumes in 30 minutes? You get into a fugue state. And when when a resume comes by that looks like this, and it is basic and boring in Arial 10.5, and with this much white space, you can actually read it. Rather than this, which you notice I could barely read. I actually skipped some stuff. So, one thing they messed up on is formatting. Also, your education should be at the top. Now, my problem here is I mentioned two things. One, they had too many hot dogs. B, they will not impress me. So, first things first, I'm going to do that in reverse order. You will never impress the person reading your. It's just not going to happen. I know you want to put down like 92% accuracy and integrated semantic turn taking and back channeling using a local llama 3, reducing interruptions by 80% and response latency by 300 milliseconds. No, you never will. You will never, ever, 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 ever impress us. Stop writing your resume to impress and write it to explain the basics of what you did. That is how you get a job. All right? Nobody cares about reducing interruptions by 80% or a 92% accuracy. The only numbers you should ever have in your resume is your dates of employment, your college graduation, if within the last 3 years, and your phone number. Besides those three, your resume should not have numbers. The other exception to that is if it's a leadership or sales role, then you want numbers. But as software engineers, do not want numbers. You do not want any numbers in the bullet points. They make your resume worse. There is one very specific niche difference, which I tell people and they get it wrong all the time, which is how many users used the infrastructure you built. But again, it's not how many users use the product. It's only, did you build the infrastructure for the whole product? How many people used it per week? That is the only exception. Otherwise, no numbers. I want to sound like Edna from The Incredibles with no capes. No numbers. It doesn't matter how cool it thinks you look. All it's going to do is get you sucked into a wind turbine, right? That's what happened in The Incredibles. That's what happens with numbers. It's just going to get you rejected. Don't do it. Then, the second thing I mentioned was hot dogs. So, I want you to imagine you go to a place called Headless Headhunter's Hamburger Hut. You want a hamburger. You say, "Hello, waiter, I would like a hamburger, please." The waiter goes, "All right, coming right up, sir. Let me get you a hamburger. Do you want anything else on that hamburger?" You say, "No, I just want a single hamburger. That is it." They said, "All right, thank you for choosing a Headless Headhunter's Hamburger Hut. I'll be right back with that hamburger. Give me 1 second." So they go back to the kitchen, and they go back and they say, "Here's your hamburgers," but it's not a hamburger. It's a plate of hot dogs. And you'd be like, "I wanted a hamburger. This is a hot dog. Why are you giving me a hot dog when I wanted a hamburger?" And they say, "Well, I assure you, sir, these hot dogs are the best hot dogs you will ever have in your life. I swear to you, these are the best hot dogs in the tri-state area." So, but most importantly, if you really think about it, a hot dog is like a hamburger, right? It has meat just like a hamburger. It has a bun just like a hamburger. So when you wanted a hamburger, what you really wanted were these 3 hot dogs that I got. And again, they're the best hot dogs ever. you would look at that waiter like they were crazy and you would walk away without paying because that is not what you wanted. And that is the exact same problem with this resume too, is it has too many things that are hot dogs. They are adjacent to what I want. They are close to what I want, but they are not what I want. So Lee, what do you want? You want this. This is it. Now, you need those in qualification format, not keyword format, because we're not keyword hunting. I know people say we are, but we're not. Recruiters do not. Well, you know what? I'm gonna take that back. Fresh recruiters who are very new to the job keyword hunt. Once you have about probably 2 to 3 months in the job, you stop keyword hunting and start qualification hunting. So after 3 months is when you typically learn that, oh, that's a bad idea. You don't keyword hunt. So what is a qualification? Well, a qualification is what you did, how you did it, the non-technical business why you did it. So basically, why did you do it that your grandmother would understand, and where you did it. And if it's not what, how, why, where, guess what? It does not count as a qualification. So that is part of that problem. So when we look at this, develop the monetization pipeline. Okay, that tells me a little bit about what you're doing. Using Stripe, hot dog, React, actually what I'm looking for, MongoDB, hot dog, enabling metered and reoccurring billage usage for client usage logs for client visibility. This is actually a good why. I want to actually congratulate this is a good why. The problem is, what do they not have? They don't have anything I want besides React. And if you notice, I need more than React. So this sentence does not work because you want a minimum of 3 keywords, which this would be a keyword, is a what? In each sentence, a maximum of 6. So this fails because it only has 1 keyword that we're looking for. The others are hot dogs. And again, this is a good why. So this would count as what, how, why, where. This, though, implemented PyTest. All right, that can maybe count as extra credit for AI. For billing infrastructure, achieving 90% test coverage, preventing critical revenue regressions. Nope, not understandable by your grandmother. This sentence does not work. You can have all the keywords you want here. It does not count. Also, you don't have keywords in this anyway. So this is why this sentence does not work. What is test coverage and critical revenue regression? I don't know. You didn't tell me. What did you do with it? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Did you use TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Did you use SQL? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Then deployed stateful agent on DigitalOcean droplets using fast API. Nope. No what, how, why, where. This has literally nothing I want. This has Google Cloud. This one I hate because Google Cloud is something I want, but you do have to put Google Cloud Platform, parentheses GCP, or they may not actually know what it is. But again, there is no why. So even if you count this, it doesn't count because their why is bad. And then down here, again, back channeling, this means nothing. So you may be thinking, well, no, the problem with this resume is they're an international. No, I've gotten internationals good ratio. So when people follow my advice, they get a 1 in 7 application to interview ratio. That is what they get. So for every 7 applications they send, they get 1 interview. There is an asterisk behind it. If you are applying to only remote roles, it's a 1 in 20. They're just that competitive, but I can still get you about 1 interview per 20 applications for a remote role. Now, if you're an international person, I can get you 1 in 100, which sounds awful, but considering a lot of internationals, it takes them 1,500 applications to get an interview. It's good. Unfortunately, the Trump changes last year just completely destroyed the international market. So if they're an international, they should still be getting 1 in 100 or a little bit lower than 1 in 100. And this person is not. So even assuming they were not an international, which they might not actually be, to be clear, this does not work because this sentence is awful. This sentence is awful. This sentence is awful. This sentence is mostly awful. Again, even if I count this as having the right keyword, you did not show me why you did it, which is why you get rejected. So I want you to take this resume and I want you to delete it. Also, I want your education up at the top. You need your education up at the top. I want you to delete it and I want you to start again. And I want you to pick a stack because I don't actually know what stack you are. This is not even the Python stack. This is not the AI engineer stack. Again, if we're going back to the 6 stacks I linked, I don't know what stack this person would be. because they don't have the qualifications for any of them. There's none of these would work for any of the 6 stacks. So I want you to go back to the drawing board, and then I want you to pick a stack, and then in the link below, you can see a list of all the qualifications I have. Tailor your resume to that particular stack. And then in each bullet point, what you need to do is 3 keywords minimum, 6 maximum, and you need to explain it like you did here, right? Right here is a good explanation. In fact, you don't even need all of it, right? Enabling metered and reoccurring billing. You can just say enabling billing, metered and reoccurring billing for client visibility, right? This is a fine why you did it. This is understandable by your grandmother. The rest of this means nothing. And if your grandmother does not understand a bullet point and you don't have the 3 to 6 keywords in it, it is a terrible bullet point and it needs to be deleted. So it may enrage you. Let me be clear. I know software. I know you all a lot. My entire family is engineers. I have done IT recruiting for a very long time. I have talked to a lot of you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking this is ridiculous. This is absolutely counter to everything in the market. Well, yeah, because those people are trying to sell you. They're trying to sell you a garbage resume with a lie about how the ATS is rejecting you. And then if you just be a better engineer, you can get a job. Well, having been in IT recruiting, I'm here to tell you how good you are at being an engineer is not related to how well or good of a job you get. There is a minimum you need, but how good you are at being an engineer is not related to how you get a job. And you cannot think of the resume as an engineering problem. If you think of this as an engineering problem, you will fail. This is closer to a dating profile. This is, that's the best metaphor I could think of, is you cannot engineer it. You need to think of it in the what, how, why format. You need to explain it to a grandmother, and it needs to be clear, basic, boring, and easy to read. So with that said, we got another 4 resumes up. But before that, I just want to thank the members of my channel. My members get access to videos early and also access to all my past live streams where I record this. If you want to be a member, you can join in the link below. But my members are the reason I can keep doing this for you all. So thank you very much for keeping the channel's lights on. Thank you for supporting me, because I could not keep doing this without your financial support. So I really appreciate that. And if you ever need any more help, you can join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter, or right here on YouTube every Monday, Friday, Wednesday at 11 a.m. PST. To repeat that because people keep asking it, but with extra ado or no further ado, let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of an AI engineer, which really works because you can actually see the previous resume and if they have this stuff, right? These are the keywords, but again, we need qualifications, not keywords. So this person's resume is terrible. They get a 0 and 700, so they apply to about 700 and they gotten 0 interviews. They are an international. So remember, I can get internationals a 1 in 100. A 1 in 100 is the equivalent of a 1 in 15 to a 1 in 7 for a non-international. That is how bad that market is. So I will judge this as if this was not an international, which is, I hope they all judge it anyway. So what do we need? We need degree, Python, or other backend. In the US, Python is preferred. In the EU, they want Java, but if you have Java in the US, it's not a deal breaker. Don't fret too much. ML, LLMs, cloud, any of them, built stuff in production, agentic systems, multi-agent, agentic coding, Cloud Code, OpenAI, Codex, Cursor, frameworks, LangGraph, LangChain, Google ADK, OpenAI Agent SKD. Communicate technical details to a non-technical audience. That is critical. Your job as an AI engineer is to speak to Bob. Bob does not know how to turn on his monitor. Bob answers every email with AI. You have to explain to Bob, while yes, your AI infrastructure is powerful, yes, it can do stuff, it cannot do his laundry. And you will have to explain that to Bob in simple to understand methods, because Bob cannot turn on his monitor. So I need to see that you can communicate technical details to an audience. Then ML Ops, AI architecture, AI orchestration, and rare but nice to have is the industry you're in, like, oh wow, completely forgot. Brain stopped. like SaaS or fintech or healthcare, medical, that kind of stuff. SQL, RAG, Git, NumPy, Skibbity learned, all that good stuff. So 20 seconds on the clock. This person gets 0 interviews because they were all online assessments, which if a company, like, you cannot count the, oh wow, that fits perfect. You cannot count for your ratio online assessments that are not with a person. Because a company can just click a button and send those out. Those don't really count. You have to actually meet with a person, even if it's a recruiter, for 5 minutes. So to count as an interview. So 20 seconds on the clock and go. Okay, formatting's bad. Engineered a RAG pipeline that pulled exam rubrics narrative from Snowflake, Hot Dog, processed them with pandas, and used Java-based LLM with reduced hallucination. That's it's still too incomprehensible. Implemented a hybrid scoring system that used cosine vectors embedded relevance and improved grading and reduced the need for manual checks. Time. Yeah, I understand why you're not getting interviewed. So, this is bad. This is incredibly wordy. I was not able to get past the second bullet point, and I only found that count as a extra credit, or does that count? Would pandas count as extra credit? Pandas would count as extra credit. So RAG is something I would note that's extra credit as well. So this is 2 and 2 extra credit. This has 0 things I want, and this is all I got through. So first things first, fix your formatting. As you will need an OPT, you don't want to put U.S. citizen, but you do want to put your location. You also might have to put moving to X by Y date, which is what you need to do if you need to relocate. Also, remember, your resume doesn't matter if you're not applying within the first 100 people. This is something covered in my guide that people miss very often. And I have people say, I used your method, but it doesn't work. And then I ask them the question of, are you applying within the first 100 people? Nothing else matters about that if you do not apply within the first 100. Remember, ATS is sort on a first come, first serve basis. And on average, a company can find a person within the first 150 applicants. So if you are not within the first 100 applicants, there is a large chance you will not get seen. That is a core part of my guide that people miss. So A, make sure you're applying within the first 100 applicants. B, we need better bullet points. Why is it that I don't see any cloud? Why is it that I don't see that you built stuff in production? Why is it that I don't understand what reduced hallucination and grading feedback? Lee understands that. Lee understands what that is because Lee is a tech recruiter, but nobody else will, right? And again, that's still not even really what we're looking for. Like, I'd rather you say, like, what was the point of it? Like, I'd rather you say, built a multi-agent system. I know you didn't do multi-agent, you did singular agent. Using LangGraph, Claude Code, and Python to build an LLM that allowed students to reference narratives from a rubric or from their class something. Like, that's how I want that to read. But implemented a hybrid scoring system that used cosine, blah, 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 blah. No. Designed a human in the loop. You did this kind of right. A human in the loop is a hot dog. But you did write it correctly, which is ITL. Like, if there's a long word, you want to put the parentheses. So you did the parentheses right, but this is, again, a hot dog. Then what is the reliability scores? I don't know. What is Cohen's kappa? I don't know. Between AI generated, there we go, and TA benchmarks, flagging. Why is this important? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Remember, you were talking to Bob. Bob cannot turn on his monitor. Bob needs to ask AI how to turn on his monitor, gets frustrated, and calls tech support. This needs to be explained to Bob, which, if you notice, is actually a qualification, which is communicate technical details to a non-technical audience. You have proven to me that you are unable to do that based on this resume. Architected a predictive model using machine learning algorithms to forecast the winning MLB team with granular... Who cares about granular? Did you improve decision making for better strategies? What do you mean better, like, for betting? I don't understand that one. I assume that's to make it easier to bet on games. But you need to, like, just say that. Don't Don't coach it in this corporate lingo. It's gonna get worse. And again, I'm missing most of the stuff I want. Why is it I don't see any Python? But Lee, pandas, no, 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 no. If it is not directly stated, it is assumed you do not have it. I do not care that pandas implies Python. Nothing implies Python but putting Python. You have overshot what we needed to do. You are trying to impress me. You are coaching this in language that is indecipherable to someone not deep in the industry, and that is how you get rejected. So I want you to take a break. I want you to delete it, and I want you to rewrite this in A, this formatting, and B, actually relevant bullet points. Because I don't think I see any cloud. I don't see any Python. I don't see that you build stuff in production. I don't see any agentic or multi-agent systems. That one you might have. I only saw LLM at the top. Oh, you have Python. I see. You have Java. See, I missed Java. There's so much stuff here. I actually missed the Java. This is actually would be the equivalent of the backend, but I missed it because it's so much junk in between it. Where's the ML ops, the AI architecture, the AI orchestration? You need to write it simpler because I missed Java. And I know this would count. It's on my list. This is why formatting matters. This is why putting hamburgers and not hot dogs matters, is the person that knows what they're doing may miss Java. Next, resume. This is a cybersecurity intern. This is their second go. So they said hopefully this one's better than the other one. So what do we need for a cybersecurity intern? We need to see your degree. We need to see a basic knowledge of cybersecurity, Office, MS Office, networking, cybersecurity principles, phishing, malware, Windows presentations, the ability to work well with others, take direction and criticism. If you are an intern and you do not have the ability to work well with others and take direction and criticism, you are going to get rejected. Nobody wants to hire someone with a self-superiority complex. In fact, there was a case, that was just never mind, I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, no one wants to hire somebody that's a jerk. There is a myth that you can be the biggest jerk in the world as long as your coding's good. And the answer is no. No one will move forward with you. They would rather hire somebody with less good code if they work well together and are nice to be around. You can never neglect the social stuff. So, 20 seconds on the clock. This is a 1 in 100. So we don't know their new ratio because it is too early. But let's check this out. Go. Okay, very good. Find a board game with 3 engineers refresh weekly. Okay. Use CM, cybersecurity, Windows and Linux to protect data in cloud environment. What cloud environment? Analyze UCP IP system. Investigate alerts with process to handle. Is generated and manage software troubleshooting. Okay, time. Yeah, this is why this formatting is better, is because I was able to read all the way down. So I think there's a couple of minor formatting issues. No, it looks different. Okay, that's not a big deal. All right, so what I would do here is, let's see, manage troubleshooting and access websites. Okay, develop Python. Okay, so here is what I would do. I understand why you put this here. I think this is solid, but I feel like you could probably do it at the IT intern down here, right? If you haven't, then what I would like you to do, if you have not done this stuff down here, what I would like you to do is switch these bullet points around. You definitely want to show that you can work well with others. You definitely want to show that, but you shouldn't. It's okay to not have it in the first one. It can be in the second bullet. Because if you saw, I was able to read almost that entire page. So these should be switched. And then here, I don't know if this is worth 4 bullet points. I think you could do this in 3, maybe 2. Normally I want a minimum of 3 bullet points, but like for a project is a project. You can do this in 2, right? Like, use SEM and cybersecurity principles, identifying malware in Windows and Linux by analyzing TCP IP traffic to detect network vulnerabilities and investigating alerts to protect private data in a AWS or GCP or Azure. Like, you could probably combine. And then Yeah, like I think you just need to make it shorter, because then you can go down to here and we can do manage software troubleshooting, which is huge. Software troubleshooting is big. That's very relevant experience, especially because it shows that you can handle it with other people. In fact, if anything, I would kind of prefer your internships above if you've had it, because I really think you could probably fit this project up here into here. And then maybe just remove the prompt engineering. Like, again, this is not bad, but we do still want to pay attention to order and how much is here. Oh, and that's what was off. That was off. Is that correct? There's a bigger I feel like there's a bigger gap in here than there should be for some reason. But that's a minor issue. But yeah, I really think we just need to switch around the order of this. I think we need to shrink this to 2 bullet points in general. And then if we can fit what's in the projects and the internships, put that ahead. If you can't, keep the projects the way you have. But like, otherwise, I like it. Okay, we just want to switch around the order. We want to make sure they see this stuff first. And even though working with others is good, we want them to see the tech first, because otherwise they may think you applied to the wrong role. So starting off with used SEM and cybersecurity principles, good. That's what you want to do. So definitely have this start first. In fact, like, again, I like what you did on the engineering team project, but I feel like you did it at the IT intern, because software troubleshooting for other people. In fact, you can say manage software troubleshooting for other customers by doing customer service and stuff would show you can work well together with others. So I like it. I like what you're doing. We now need to trim and move some of the things around to make the puzzle fit. So next, resume. This is a software engineer intern. So what do we need for another intern? Well, degree, basic knowledge of whatever that internship is, which in this case is the tech stack, language, SQL, cloud, AI, object-oriented programming, the ability to work well with others, and take direction, criticism. So 20 seconds is on the clock. This is a new resume, so we do not know if this is good or garbage. The last resume was bad, but we don't know if this is. So 20 seconds is on the clock. And let's see if we find it. All right, go. Developed an Android application, Java, Spring Boot oriented. Good. Use GitLab issue think harder person team. MySQL it was as a in place, kind of a search question processes. Hot dog time. Okay, so this isn't bad, but we have a little bit of an issue. So remember, you do need to apply within the first 100 people, or you will not. But not counting that, I like your first sentence, right? Developed an Android application using Java, Spring Boot, and object-oriented programming to help students and faculty save hours. I realize, though, that Spring Boot is kind of extra credit. So I would like a little bit more. This kind of really has 2.5 keywords, right? 2.5 keywords rather than 3, which we need, because Spring Boot counts as that. So I would rather you say something like, facts. Why can't we combine these, right? Why can't we say, developed an Android application using Java, Java, MySQL, REST APIs, Spring Boot, and object-oriented programming on an AWS environment to help students and faculties. Actually, I don't know what you did. What do you mean save hours? What do you mean save hours? So these should be combined with the keyword, these first two, the first and the third. But what is this? What was it for? Like, to save hours, to reduce the amount of time students spent in the lab or something. Like, I still need a little bit more because it's a little confusing and I don't have enough. So combine the first and the third. And then this one is fine, right? Use GitHub issues, merge requests, CI/CD code reviews, and testing, coordinate development, person team, perfect. No notes. Well, you know what? No, I'm going to give you a note. What did you coordinate it on? Like, person team 2, ensure we met all deadlines, right? Like, for the app. In fact, that's actually something you could probably just easily add is development 4-person team to ensure we met all deadlines on the app. That's all you need to add. And then down here is kind of a brag. Like, it's not the worst to have if you're going to combine it. But again, like, this doesn't add anything to what I want. Like, I would rather you say, like, like, our app was that did blankety blank and what was earned second place among 50 plus teams, right? Even then, though, it's kind of a hot dog. The thing I'm missing is takes direction and criticism, which is a big thing. I do not see that you can take direction and criticism. I see that you can work well with others. I see that you can have a basic understanding of the tech. I do not see that you can take direction and criticism. I'm even scrolling down and I just... Oh, I see you did it down here. No one's going to be able to go this far down. Even though I can go far down in my format, no one is going to go down to unless we shrink them. Also, projects don't need dates. Projects do not need dates. This is fine. Project is fine. There we go. And honestly, I don't know why you don't put your work history up front. Because it looks like you have the basic stuff I need down here. Right? Like, this first sentence is bad and needs to be deleted because it's filled with hot dogs. But the second one is develop simulation software using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Python to allow non-technical researchers to address parameters to test multiple hypotheses. That's a great sentence. Leverage meetings and demos to get feedback. Bad sentence. This one's bad. But use Claude Code and GitHub Copilot to build the application, joining the structure for the data sets. One keyword. So I'm kind of wondering why we need the lab flow project above this, because it looks like you have the basic knowledge at this research assistant. You just need to put ability to work with others and take direction and criticism. And then the teaching assistant can be smaller, and then we can do projects. So again, it's not like it's a bad resume. It's just the order of what is important, because the order is relevancy first, always relevancy, then work experience, then internships, then project. And it looks very much like this project. You have the relevant work history here. So again, I would switch around the order of some of this. I would tighten up these bullet points. The first and the third need to be combined, and I really just unnecessary. Like, why does it matter? Right? Remember, we're not looking for brags. We're looking for relevancy. If you could say this in the first sentence, right, which developed an Android application using blah, 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 to save students hours in university lab that earned second place amongst 50 plus teams, then maybe. So I want you to try to find the keywords in the research assistant. If you can't, then the lab flow goes up. But lab flow, regardless, the first and the third need to be combined, and you need to do something with this last sentence. Next resume. This is a resume of a business analyst. So what do we need for a business analyst? Which is different than a data analyst. People try to use the same resume for both, and while there are a lot of similarities, those are different jobs. So what do we need? We need SQL. We need the industry. We need Microsoft 365, PowerPoint, Outlook, Excel, Advanced Excel, Word, Jira, SAP, requirements gathering and documentation, influence cross-functional from IC to stakeholders management, and proactively solve business problems. Remember, I do not care what you analyzed. I care what you did. What you analyzed was for. That's what I care about. Meet multiple deadlines concurrently, Agile, Scrum, and Waterfall, and then some industry tools. So let's find out what we can find in seconds. This person has a awful resume. This is over 150 to 1. So go and go. Okay, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. All right. Acting we should have pipelines, performance value, this means nothing. Identified, blah 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 blah. This means nothing. Cleaned. I don't care that you cleaned. Dashboards for client decision making, but how did you do it? Time. Yeah, there's almost nothing here. I understand why this is not getting it. So first things first, summaries do not matter. You don't want to put a summary there. There's no point in it. If you're relocating or explaining a non-H-1B OPT visa, then yes, you want a summary. Otherwise, a summary. And then relevant coursework. Relevant coursework does not matter. This does not count. Then this line. Stop putting this random line here. I don't know why everybody does it. Makes it so much harder to read. Then we go down to here, and the problem I have here is I did not see a single thing that I wanted. Not a single thing I needed besides the word Excel, and then you did not explain enough for it to count anyway. Conducted market and financial analysts across cement and seamless pipe industries. Okay, there we go. That's the industry. So I take that back. There's one thing there. Evaluating company performance using validation metrics such as blah 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 blah. I don't care about, right? I care that you used this, right? But what did you use? Excel? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Did you use SQL? I don't know. You didn't tell me. What was the analysis used for? Evaluations of what are those metrics? I don't know. Those are incomprehensible to your grandparent. Those are incomprehensible to your grandma. Your grandma needs to understand it. Or your grandfather. In this case, both. So, why did you do that? I don't know. You didn't tell me. What did you do with it? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Did you gather requirements? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Did you influence cross-functional from IC to stakeholders and proactively solve business problems? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Did you explain complex topics to non-technical people? I don't know. You did not tell me. And that is what I'm looking for. This doesn't matter. There's nothing here. You have Excel, but like, why? How did this support decision making? How did this support decision making? And again, this is only one keyword. Remember, you need a minimum of 3, a maximum of 6. This is only one. So there's there's 2 things I'm looking for in this entire thing, which is industry and Excel. But you do not tell me how you did that. Do not tell me anything else. But Lee delivered a cost reduction process optimization report presented to senior and client leadership. What was the result of that? Did you confuse them? Did they actually move forward with the product? I don't know. Now, if you told me that explained complex cost reduction in reports by presenting to senior leadership so they could solve X problem, I would move you forward, but I don't. And that's my problem, is I just don't see what I need. This almost entire resume is blank. Like that, this doesn't matter, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter, 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 because you didn't tell me why. Nothing here matters, nothing here matters, nothing here matters. Again, this is cool because you told me that what you did with it, but that's all I see. And then develop the 10 Excel. What? This doesn't matter, this doesn't matter, this doesn't matter. So if you see, the problem is your resume is almost. Remember, 3 keywords minimum, 6 maximum per bullet point. You need to explain to me how you did it. You need to explain to me requirements gathering and documentation. You need to explain to me 365, PowerPoint, Outlook, Excel, Word, Jira, and SAP. Remember, I'm not just looking for Excel, I'm looking for advanced Excel. You need to show how you influenced manager. You need to show me how you explain complex topics. Because based on this resume, I don't think you can do it. So that is why you are having a problem with it. Also, I would probably maybe even not keep that. Why is the timeline of your dates off? Why was this June 2025 to July, and this is February to present? That doesn't make sense on a level that we would want. We want to make sure the timeline makes sense. So that is why this resume doesn't work, is it's almost entirely blank. It needs to be completely redone. I just don't see anything that is salvageable in this. Remember, you are not speaking to a technical audience, not even the manager. You are talking to somebody that cannot turn their monitor, and your resume needs to be built like that. Next resume. This is a DevOps engineer. Now, we do not know how good or bad this resume is. They did not tell us. But what we do need for a DevOps engineer is DevOps Cloud, and its words EC2, which I don't know the words for Azure and GCP, but if I see some weird words after Azure or GCP, that's the equivalent. We're good. CI/CD, GitHub Actions, coding languages, Python, Java, etc. PowerShell, Bash, Linux, Unix, infrastructure as code, IAC, Kubernetes, Docker, Terraform, Helm, Ansible, Chief. And I actually think I wrote IAC wrong. I think it's lowercase a. Can DevOps people in the comments correct me? Lowercase a, correct? Monitoring platforms like Prometheus, Grafana, or Datadog, and a bonus for Databricks and industry. So let's see what we've got. 20 seconds is on the clock. And go. Okay. Let MLOps and implementing AI solutions. 100K military members, learning personnel. What? Facilitated ML performation. What? But why? This is a project for the military? Medical records for armed forces. Doesn't matter. Hot dog. Hot dog, hot dog, hot dog. Time. Oh, I see what this is. Okay. Okay, I know why you did what you did. Got it. Okay, you formatting. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. This took me a second to understand. First off, your bullet points are kind of bad. Second off, this reads like this was a project that you made when you were actually talking about a consulting company. I don't want you to put senior consultant. I want you to put data engineer or DevOps engineer, right? Don't just say senior consultant at company. That means nothing. Just say DevOps engineer or DevOps engineer consultant or DevOps consultant, okay? Your title in this case should be the job title. Then do not make your projects like this. If you did multiple projects, then I want you to say in the very first bullet point, completed multiple projects as the lead MLOps engineer in implementing X and Y, such as Z, X, and Y. Okay? We want to make sure we don't just say project 1. This is a consulting company. That is fine. You have been there for 4 years. Just say multiple projects and then list them later on. Okay? Don't break them down like this. This makes it harder to read. Second off, I need the months. Okay? Because you've been here for 5 years, it's not the worst, but I need the months right here. Did you start in January or did you start in December? Because if you started in January, then at the time of recording, that is a lot of experience, 5+ years. If you started in December, that is less years of experience. So give me the amount, the months. I need the months. You do not need the months for your college. That is fine. That is okay. You can just put status graduated or 2012. That's fine. But I do need it for here. This needs the month because down here, this is where this stuff really matters, right? Is this 2020 in December to January of 2021? Or is this January 2020 to December 2020? Those matter. I need the months. You need the months. You need the months. Then after you fix your formatting, remember it should look like this. I need you to actually put what I want. This resume is filled with hot dogs. You have some stuff, right? This is understandable because it tells me what it is and it has AIML, but it's still not enough, right? This only has one keyword, which would be MLOps. Wait, let me switch around. I'm getting my keywords. These are actually not qualifications at all. AI is, but the MLOps really isn't. So this only has one, which is AIML, and that's really more of a bonus. Then this has Terraform, which is good. This has nothing I need. This has nothing I need. This doesn't make sense. Remember, just because you have the keywords, it doesn't count unless you tell me how you did it and why you did it, and I don't understand the non-technical reason for this. Then, technical leader in modernized medical records. Again, there's nothing in this that I can use. This has nothing in it. And then this has, again, some stuff I want, like GitHub. Well, GitLab. I want to see GitHub rather than GitLab. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. Helm does. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. This doesn't. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. This doesn't count. This doesn't. So this is my problem, and why you're struggling is it doesn't read like you're a DevOps engineer. Why is it that I can only find AI, which is a bonus, Terraform, and oh, is that it? I thought I saw one other thing, and Helm. Why is it I can only find Terraform, Helm, and AI? Where is the DevOps? Where is the cloud in its words? Where is CI/CD? Where is GitHub Actions, not GitLab? Remember, if JavaScript is different than Java, then GitLab might be different than GitHub Actions. Where is the coding language like Python or Java or PowerShell or Bash? Where is the Linux or the Unix? Where is the IAC? Where is the monitoring platform? I don't have that, and I don't know what you did. I need you to simplify it. Look, you worked with the military. I know you have met Bob. I know you have met a person high up in the ranks that cannot even understand how to turn on their. That is who I need you to build this for. This resume needs to be seen by Bob, and Bob needs to be able to find what they need and understand it. That is the part that a lot of people mess up on. It's not keyword stuffing because they need to understand it. So Bob needs to understand how you use Kubernetes, Docker, and Terraform. Bob needs to understand how you did CI/CD at GitHub Actions. I know you've met somebody. Military stuff is like the corporate world of corporate. It's beyond corporate, right? It goes like startups, and then no, startups are very different. It goes like super small companies, corporate, and then the military. And you know, Bob, you know a high-ranking person who is the stakeholder, who you need permission to do stuff, and you have to explain it to Bob, and Bob needs. And that is why this resume fails. A, you don't have enough keywords, and B, the formatting's bad, and C, Bob would not understand it, so you need to make it understand. So that is it for me today for this. Thank you very much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and to my members, thank you very much for your support. I could not do this without you. Again, your support allows me to do this. Your monetary support lets me keep doing this for free for everyone. So thank you for your support. And if you want to join and be a member, you get access to all of the past live streams that all the past live streams in the last like 5 months when I started recording them correctly. To get the live streams, and you also get access to videos early. If you ever need more help, you can join the YouTube. Join me on YouTube or Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. Again, right here on YouTube. But that is it for me, and I will see you in the next video to help you get ahead of your job search. Later.